Welcome to the very first episode of Installed Base, the Tubecast for YouTube, brought to you by Insulation 4. I am your one and only host, Fazunga, and if you are listening to this, you are the chosen one. This week's episode of Installed Base brought to you by
Thompson's Teeth, the only teeth strong enough to eat other teeth.
And now, releases of the week with Toby the Video Gamer.
Hey guys, my name's Toby, the video gamer. I like to play all kinds of the video games. I like to play the Nintendos, and the Microsoft Xboxes, and the PlayStation 3s, and the Vitas, and all of that good stuff. Right now, I'm about to give you what's hot coming out this week for all of the systems, so let's see what we got. The first game we got this week is Diablo 3. It's by Snow Blizzard Entertainment, who makes a really popular game, World of Crafting Wood. In this game, you play as Satan on his never-ending quest for cheese, but this time, all of the demons are like, why do you get the cheese and we don't get any cheese? And so they start an uprising, and you have to quest around heaven, requesting a quest from the questinator. But then you can customize yourself to take on different types of challenges, like if you fight Super Ruby Brothers and 11 squids in a hanky, or maybe some tougher like Jesus walking on water, making bread from wine, feeling real fine. Hey, overall, this game has been very anticipated for 100 million years because everybody wants to know how Satan's story ends. If they only knew the beginning, the meaning of life would reveal itself or something. I don't know. It might be that deep, but probably not, because it's a video game. It's only for the computer, which I don't play games for, so I don't really care about this game at all. The next game we got is Sodunk the Snedgehog 4, Episode 2. It's a continuation of the first episode that came out some other year, I don't know, 2010 or something maybe. And in this game, you fight the evil Dr. Robot Man Nick, who's like this crazy Russian scientist that turns fuzzy animals into crazy robots because he's a maniac. And you're a crazy animal, and you don't want to get turned into a robot, except he turns your uncle into a robot, and the robot, this hedgehog, comes after you, and you gotta defeat him with your fox friend who has two tails, because he fell in a bath of mutant chemicals as a child. Now he flies around and talks like a 6-year-old girl, even though he's a boy. And then I guess you gotta defeat him, and then there may not be another one because the series is really getting unpopular with the fans because they changed the color of Sodunk's eyes a while back, and everybody went crazy with rage and stuff, and I could totally see why, because green just does not suit him, honey. And finally, we got a game that I'm really excited about, Maximum Pain 3. In this game, you play as a former famous luchador named Maximilian Pain-A-Million, give you a pain in the mouth. And he had a very long name, and so he shortened it down to Maximum Pain, and now he's on a mission to deliver vigilante justice to the children of Africa. They're starving. They're abused. There's a guy over there named Coney. He's beating them to a pulp. And you, as Maximum Pain, go and deliver maximum pain to this guy's face by punching him repeatedly in a boxing match of the ages. And also, you got guns, and you got painkillers, and you got all this good stuff, and you gotta deliver the hurt to this guy before he destroys children and burns down their houses. And then you can feed them good food like South Beach diet bars so that they don't get too fat and die of obesity because you're a good citizen. And that's the releases of the week.
Welcome, ladies and dudes of the internet, to a segment I like to call the Korra Corner, where we talk about the week's episode of The Legend of Korra. But since this is the very first segment, let's talk about all 6 of them. We just got through the 6th episode over the weekend, which puts us halfway through the first season, and I have to say that things are really starting to get interesting in the series. But first, let's talk about the series as a whole. I think it's great. I love the characters. I think the characters are fantastic, but one of the problems that I'm having with it is that it's moving a little bit fast for me, which was something that Mike and Brian said was going to happen because the show was originally supposed to only be 12 episodes. The entire series, it was supposed to be a mini-series of 12 episodes. So they were jam-packing each one with as much stuff as they could, as if there were only going to be 12 episodes in the entire series. Now this leads to some interesting stuff. That means that these episodes are moving quick, even though they didn't necessarily have to. And I wonder at what point in production of these episodes did they find out that Nick ordered another 14 and they realized that they could have slowed down? One of the things that I liked about the first series so much was that the characters were extremely developed, because not every episode was bam, bam, action, story, plot advancement. A lot of them slowed down, and I wouldn't call them filler episodes. They were more like breather episodes, where it was basically just not terribly integral to the main part of the story, but it really added to the development of the characters. And that was something that I really enjoyed, and we really don't get that here. Everything just is blowing forward like a freight train. That didn't really even make sense, but you know what I mean. The good news is, I think it's going to start to slow down, especially when we get into the second season, or maybe it won't, because the second season is supposedly the last season, and things might begin to ramp up. But anyway, yeah, the characters are great. I especially like Tenzin, which is weird. I wasn't expecting to, but he's one of my favorite characters, and I want more of him. He's not in it enough, really, I think. And J.K. Simmons has done a fantastic job with his voice. When I heard that he was going to voice Tenzin, I immediately thought, oh, now I'm not going to be able to unhear Cave Johnson. It's just going to be the son of Aang talking about combustible lemons. But that wasn't the case at all. I think he's really nailed the perfect personality. I think Tenzin's a great character, and I want to know more about him and his past, as well as, you know, everybody from the previous show. I mean, especially, I hung on to this rather nitpicky thing that's been bothering me about Korra, which is, in the previous series, I thought it was pretty well established that the life expectancy in the Avatar world was really long. I like to use Boomy as an example because he was at least 112 in the previous series, and so we know that people in Avatar can be pretty old. And Aang died, assuming that the Avatar, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but assuming that the Avatar is born right when the old one dies, then Aang would have been like 65 when he died, which seems very young actually, for the Avatar world, and I want to know what happened to him. And Sokka, too, because Sokka wouldn't have been that old either. He was around, I mean, he was a couple years older than Aang, but still. And then there's Zuko, who I think is still very much alive, and his voice actor, Dante Bosco, has been confirmed as doing a voice in Korra, but, he hasn't talked about what role that is, but I think it's very likely that it's Zuko. This is interesting because there's kind of this subplot developing where Korra's getting these flashbacks to this event that happened in Republic City 40 years ago, and we've gotten glimpses of adult Aang, I think Sokka and Toph, as they're kind of quelling a rebellion of their own. I think it's been a couple episodes since they talked about it, but I think that's what it is. And so I'm pretty interested in that, as well as where we're going forward in time with Amon. And we've really reached an interesting point now. And I love Amon as a character because he's so mysterious. He's like the Slade of the Legend of Korra. For those of you who have watched Teen Titans, he's this mysterious masked villain who's kind of the mastermind behind all of these schemes, and you really don't know anything about him except that apparently he's a non-bender, and he's been able to contact the spirit world, and also he can take away people's bending powers permanently, but the only one who's ever been able to do that is the Avatar, and only one Avatar, and that was Aang. So this is very interesting. I could speculate all day about this, but I'm not going to. You speculate about it for me, and then I'll comment on your speculation. But really, I'm not in a place to say who I think he is, because we really don't know enough about him. Some people have been claiming that, maybe he's Bumi Tenzin's brother, not Bumi, the king of Omashu. But Bumi is a non-bender. I don't think it's him. The only artwork that we've seen of him is like a sketch of his face, but his skin's a lot darker than Amon's skin. I think Amon said that his parents were killed by firebenders, and then his face was burned by those same firebenders, which is why he wears that mask. And that immediately reminds people of Zuko, but it's definitely not Zuko. Although I was thinking, now here's my crazy theory, which I think is wrong, but I'm going to put it out there anyway. Now, we don't know anything about Zuko's family. He could have kids. He could have a non-bending son, right? And let's say for a minute that the premise of The Promise, which is the series of graphic novels that takes place between Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra, let's say that Zuko does actually kind of become like his father, and he sort of burns off his son's face, and let's just say that Amon is pissed forever and starts a bending revolt. Maybe? Nah, probably not. I think that's wrong. Unless Amon's lying about it and he doesn't want people to know that he's related to benders and doesn't want to be associated with benders. That could actually be a thing. Maybe. But anyway, I think Amon is an awesome character, and I especially like that he's called Amon, and he wears a mask, which is pretty relevant to today's shenanigans with the Occupy movement and Anonymous, the hacker group, and his name is kind of like, Amon, Anon, it's clever. But let's talk about some of the other characters. Korra is fine. She's great, but really, it's the ensemble cast that does it for me. I like Mako a lot. I think he's pretty good, because for once we've got a firebender who's not angsty Mick Angstface. He's just kind of serious and dedicated and nice. And his brother Bolin, oh man, Bolin is funny. Especially episode 5. Man, he stole the show in that one. He was so hilarious. I love that guy. He's like the Sokka of this show, but he's not like Sokka, which makes him great. I don't know. I was just thinking, like, how could they make a comedy relief character that's quote unquote replacing Sokka and have him not be like Sokka, and yet he is. And his crazy, goofy fire ferret Pabu is awesome. I mean, Fat Pabu, you can't go wrong with Fat Pabu, man. You just can't. Fat Pabu for life, bro. Talking about real love, Pabu. You know, I mean, he had so many great lines in that episode. It was fantastic. And I think Korra's got great chemistry with everybody. I think the voice acting in the series is top notch again, except for the announcer. I probably should say commentator, of the pro betting matches. I think Jeff Bennett does the voice. He was the voice of Johnny Bravo. I mean, that guy's awesome, but there's something about it that really doesn't, I don't know, it rubs me the wrong way. He sounds kind of cheesy and fake. I don't know. And it bothers me that he does the previously on Avatar thing at the beginning, but like in an old-timey silent film way. That's kind of weird. I was hoping that Aang would do that, since Roku did it in the last series. But whatever. I mean, I think the setting's very interesting. We got kind of the Industrial Revolution setting. We got the ragtime music. The music is fantastic. And as we saw in this past week's episode, it doesn't have to be like old-time radio, ragtime 1920s dance, whatever, blah, blah. It can also be considerably epic, as the fight between the Equalists, Lin, and Korra has shown us. That was probably the highlight of this past episode for me. That was a great fight, finding out that the history between Lin and Tenzin was kind of hilarious. And, strangely, it was like so obvious that nobody thought it was actually going to happen, that they had a history like that. But, hey, it did. And it was very interesting, So, overall, I enjoyed this episode a lot. I think the one before it is probably my favorite, just because it was hilarious. Bolin was really funny in it. And it was such a contrast to episode 4, which was like dark, and when Korra was like pissing her pants, and then she had a heart-to-heart with Tenzin and all of that stuff. But yeah, I think the series has been really awesome so far. I hope the new episodes continue, because they didn't have a preview for episode 7 after episode 6. And I looked on TV Guide, and it said that next week is going to be a rerun, but I read that they do that when they don't have any information on the episode. But apparently it's called The Aftermath. And so I think things are really going to get interesting going forward. And these next 6 episodes leading to the season finale, and people think that the season finale is going to consist of Korra entering into the Avatar state and realizing her full powers and all that stuff. And I've been waiting for that to happen since the beginning of the series. I go, what happened to the Avatar state? Because I was so used to Aang going Super Saiyan and having his tattoos glow and his eyes glow and being all awesome-taculous and stuff. And I can't wait for Korra to go mega awesome. Yeah, things are gonna really heat up. It's gonna be awesome. It's the best show on TV right now. So, I just wish it wasn't on at 11 in the morning. But that's what DVR is for, so bam! Yeah, alright. Zippity Zambo, wow. And now, a rant about something. With Fazunga. There are people out there that would have you believe that Star Wars takes place in the future. Star Wars does not take place in the future. Now, I don't know if these people just legitimately think that they know what they're talking about, or if they're just stupid, but you know, it got me thinking, does Star Wars take place in the future? And I thought about it. And then I realized the first thing that you see at the beginning of every single Star Wars movie is a bunch of flying words. And if these people bothered to take the time to read these words, they would have noticed that the very first thing that your eyeballs ever see when the movie starts are the words "a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away." Now, wait a minute. A long, long time ago means in the future? Oh, that's right. No, it doesn't. It means a long, long time ago. As in, way in the past. A long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And the second part of this, in a galaxy far, far away, explains why they have future tech. Because our present technology, future time, does not affect in any way the crazy Star Wars universe's past. That's how they justify that. They have beam swords and flying cars and hyperspace because it's in a distant place, in a distant time where they can have whatever technology they want to. Star Wars does not take place in the future. Long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Look for it the next time you watch Star Wars. Oh, wait, you never watched Star Wars. Or else you'd know what you were talking about. This has been a rant about something. What have I been playing? Yeah. Alright, what have I been playing? Bam, you know what I've been playing? I've been playing Jetpack Joyride on Facebook, which is actually very misleading. Makes the game sound lame. It's not lame at all. It's from Half Brick, makers of Fruit Ninja and that zombie game where you shoot zombies in a bunch of different settings. Forget what it's called. But you can shoot a zombie T-Rex and that makes it awesome. But Half Brick makes pretty awesome games and this one's no exception. It's a really simple run to the right game, but you have a jetpack on your back that is made from machine guns strapped together. So basically the force of these machine guns shooting at the ground propels you into the air, and there's scientists running everywhere, and you can shoot them to death while you're flying, which is so incredibly stupid awesome. And of course there's obstacles in your way everywhere that you gotta float over and under and run on the ground, and there's these power-ups, and the power-ups are crazy, man. You got like a giant mechanical bird called the Money Bird or something, and it like shoots dollar bills out of its butt, and then you got a dragon that flies around and breathes fire and tortures all the scientists, and you got a crazy freaking teleporter, which is actually the exact name of the thing. That's what it's called. And you got an anti-gravity suit, and you got the badass hog, which is, okay, get this. You ride around on a motorcycle with a shotgun, and you shoot all of the scientists that are in your way. And you want to know why they're scientists? Because the game has no story. That's why they're scientists. There's some sort of problem at a place, you explode out of a thing with a machine gun jetpack, I don't know, maybe you stole it, and everything, alarms are going off, and scientists are flipping around, flying around, and things are everywhere, and missiles are flying, and electric zoobils are zoobling, and you gotta run as far as you can, collecting coins, and getting bonus spins at the end, and buying items, and steampunk jetpacks, and there's a mech suit that you can run around and crush all the scientists and fly in the air, and man, this game's awesome. You should go play it on Facebook. It's on right now, or you can download it for free on your iOS device. It is not on Android yet. I don't know why. I have an Android phone, and I want this on my phone. I need it in my life. It's so stupid fun. It's more fun than it has any right to be, but it's great. And while you're at it, play Fruit Ninja. Fruit Ninja is also great. It's so stupid fun that I love it. Oh, yeah. So, I saw the Avengers. Who hasn't seen the Avengers at this point? If you were going to see the Avengers, you've probably already seen it by now. But if you haven't seen it, stop listening to this and go see it. Or you can listen to me talk about why it was so awesome. It circumvents the problems that I have with other superhero group movies. And really that means just the X-Men, because what other ones have there been? But really my problem with the X-Men movies is that there's too many characters, and they can't get the attention that they deserve. Really. I mean, I had this problem, especially with the very first X-Men movie. I thought it was kind of bad because of this. I saw it again recently. Like, I saw it when it came out so long ago that I didn't even remember it. Then I saw it again last year, and yeah, it definitely wasn't that great. Maybe for the time, but there weren't even a lot of them in that movie, but they were just so underdeveloped that it was hard to care about anybody, really. You didn't even get to know anybody. And maybe by the third X-Men movie, you really started to get attached to some of the characters, but guess what? The trilogy's over by then. But see, the thing that Marvel did that was smart is they looked at the DC animated universe and they said, this works, and they stole it. They ripped it off and applied it to movies, and that was a great idea, and I'll tell you why. Because by the time we get to the Avengers, we already know all of the main characters involved, we're invested in them, we don't need to have an origin story about every character as well as the team. They've never done this before. Like, for example, the X-Men movie wasn't an origin story about Wolverine and Cyclops and Jean Grey and Professor X and all of them, but that was the problem. See, we didn't know them, and since all of the characters in the Avengers have gotten origin stories of their own, it was just simply an origin story of the group. That's what the whole movie was. It was about the group and the dynamic of the group and how they finally learned to work together and stuff like that. And if you go into the movie realizing that, you're gonna love it. Because, I mean, really, Loki's an awesome villain, but basically he's just kind of like the psychotic mastermind guy in the background, and there's this army of kind of generic-y aliens that really just screamed Gears of War to me. And look, I'm not a comic book guy. I don't know who they are in the Marvel canon. Somebody tell me, please, because they just look like the Locusts. Maybe that's where they got the idea from for Gears of War. I don't know. But anyway, they're basically just used as a means to test the group as a group. But everyone is fantastic in it because we've come to know and love them. And I really think that through this whole process, they've done a great job in casting all of the lead people, except for the Hulk. He's had like 3 guys now, but they finally nailed it with Mark Ruffalo. That guy's fantastic as Bruce Banner and the Hulk. He's the most Hulk-looking guy that they've ever had, really. And he's the best Bruce Banner, and he's been getting such great reception that I'm hearing now they're going to do a Hulk movie with him in it for 2015, which is a long time away, really. And if we're going to do all of the single movies again before we get to another Avengers movie, that means that's a long way off, so I hope you're ready for that, to wait that long. But anyway, everyone was great, including Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson. I thought she actually did a fantastic, acting job. Probably because they gave her material, like good material. Joss Whedon wrote good material for her, and she was like a good character in the movie. I wasn't expecting that at all. And Hawkeye, oh man, they just kind of threw him in out of nowhere as a curveball. But, dude, man, he needs his own movie. There wasn't enough. That's my one complaint about the Avengers. It needed more Hawkeye. Needs more Hawkeye. That's going to be my answer. Gee, say, Fazunga, how'd you like the Avengers? Needs more Hawkeye. What? You heard me. Needs more Hawkeye. And be sure, if you haven't seen the movie yet, and I don't know why you haven't, stay through the credits all the way through. Because there's a scene a few minutes into the credits, and then you'll think, oh, well, that's it. I can go home now. No, that's not it. Stay all the way to the end. Great scene. Great scene to tie the movie all together. Joss Whedon, fantastic job writing and directing this. The movie was hilarious. It really captured the essence of comic book fun. You know, you got Batman, the goddamn Batman. Where's the drugs? What is he doing? But then on the other hand, you've got these Marvel comics, which are funny, they're witty, they're fun, they're action. It took the essence of that and injected it into your veins. It is the best movie-going experience in a long time. It's the best comic book movie in a long time. You gotta see The Avengers. Hey, you gotta see The Avengers. A quick reminder before I leave you. Project M Demo 2 came out a couple of weeks ago. You need to go download this if you are a fan of Super Smash Bros. And were disappointed in Brawl. This is a mod that fixes everything, makes the game 100 times better. The goal of the project was to create Melee 2.0. You may be familiar with this. You may have even tried it. I'm just letting everybody know that a new demo is out because it's not, widely publicized unless you frequent the Smash Mods community. But it is out now. You do not need a modded Wii to use it. They make it very simple to use. You just need to make sure that you have any of your custom maps in Brawl deleted or moved off of your SD card. The SD card must be 2 gigabytes or less. You simply copy the files that say something like hackless pack.zip, something like that. You'll be able to recognize it. You copy those files over to your SD card, and you are good to go. Then you stick it in your Wii, you load up the game, you go to the stage builder, it'll boot up. If it looks like your game is breaking, don't be alarmed, that's supposed to happen. If you see Gecko OS screen with Project M logo, click launch, bam, you're done. That's all you need to do. And I actually went in because all of the files come with it. It makes it very easy for you to modify the files. So I went in and I swapped out a lot of the music that I didn't like in Brawl, music that I did like, and I got these tracks at a website called Brawl BRSTMs, which is a weird kind of file type that the game uses, and it's awesome. So I'll link you over there if you want to mess around with the music. You can find a list of tracks at this link somewhere. Will pop up on the screen where you can find what code goes to what track, so you can swap out the ones that you don't want. Just rename the files that you download, the BRSTM files, as the track of the music you want to replace. It's very easy, very awesome. Well, dudes and dudettes, that's going to do it for this first episode of Installed Base. Did it suck? Did you enjoy it? How can I improve? Let me know. Leave your comments, suggestions, questions in the comments. It'll help me build a better show. If all goes according to plan, I am planning on having some guests in the coming weeks, particularly for the pre- and post-E3 shows. I'm going to have my friend Raider Bear on. Hopefully we can make that happen. We're going to talk about E3 stuff, but that'll do it for this week. Next time, we Luigi.